day, you guys. Happy Wednesday. We're coming at you today with a little bit of interval work today. Yeah, have some fun with this one. So what we got for you guys, quick little warm up. We have plank to down dog for 3 to 5, quad plank for 10 to 20 seconds, floor pike hold of 15 to 30 seconds, cat cow, thread the needle for 3 to 5 per side. Working through that little kind of upper body core kind of heat up kind of phase we got going on for the first little piece. So really take some time just to really feel those shoulders, feel that body as we kind of flow from movement to movement. After that, we're going to continue moving into the lower half with a very similar kind of focus as that top piece. We're going to start priming up everything with our calf raise for 20 seconds, front scale, side scale for 5 a side, 3 to 5 a side, we'll say, and then a sumo squat of 3 to 5 with a 3-1-3 tempo. So just some 2 pieces there just to really start warming you up slowly, getting some heat going, and just checking out how the legs and the body are feeling, priming you up to get you ready to touch that dumbbell and get some intensity going on today. So our next phase today is going to continue on with 1 to 2 rounds. We're just going to, again, play with some dumbbell work, get you guys fired up. We're going to do an RDL jump of 20 seconds per side. Not worrying about reps, but just worrying about the coordination and the kind of generation of that single leg power. Into our dumbbell deadlift for 5, hang power clean for 3, and then a quad plank to down dog for 3, again, just to kind of wake up those arms, those hands, getting things ready to go upside down perhaps today. So it's going to be a good time. We have 1 to 2 rounds of that, and then we have our workout for you guys. Our workout is every 4 minutes, all right? Every 4 minutes for 5 rounds. So you're looking at a 20-minute clock in total for this workout. But every 4 minutes, you will complete a wall run, which will also have some different variations on there for 30 seconds, dumbbell deadlift for 10, dumbbell hang power clean for 8, and then 1 to 2 wall walk-ups. So we played around with the wall walk-up a little bit in the open. We've done it in the past in accessory work and did some workouts, but we're going to give you some options for that to play with at home and to see where it takes you. So our goal, take this down, nice and aggressive, working on a few key points for skill. Whatever time you have left over in the 4 minutes, you get to rest. So maybe you'll end up working 2 minutes, resting 2 minutes. Maybe it'll be a little less, a little bit more. Who knows? But we want to make sure we're focusing on our work set to be about the same amount of time each round. So when we finish our time, we should have about the same amount of rest each period of time. So that's our goal, within about 5 to 10 seconds of each other. We want to try and keep those rounds close and tight. Let's warm you guys up. Let's get you guys going. Let's get you fired up for today. Woke up a little bit. Look at our feet under the hips. We'll take the arms up big and tall, overhead. Big stretch to one side. Take it to the other side. Little lateral side bend. And then forward fold. Take it all the way down. Touch those toes. Walk up those shins. We'll come down, frame a foot. And step it back into our lizard. Nice and square in those hips. We're going to take the inside hand up. We're going to rotate forearm to the floor. We'll come back up. We'll plant that hand. We'll lower the back knee. Press the hip gentle. Come through and then open up with that outside hand. We'll come back down. Rest the hip just a bit. Come back through. Outside hand. And one more time. Press the hip. Come back through. Outside hand. Planting that hand. We'll straighten the leg, inside hand's going to reach again, and we'll just get one more rotation, back up to the sky, we'll plant the hand and step her back, into that nice down dog. So reaching those hips, setting those shoulders, we're going to walk our heels up. They might be a little tight today from those skips yesterday, so let's just take a moment, we'll walk those feet out, just wake them up. We'll come back into our plank, step the other foot up, nice and square in those hips. We're going to take the inside hand to the sky, rotate forearm to the floor. We'll come back up, rotate down, planting the hand, lower the back knee, gently press the hip, come through center, outside hand, big reach. We'll come back down, press the hip, come back through, outside hand, big reach. Planting that hand again, one more time, press the hip, through center, outside hand, and plant that hand. Straightening out the back leg, inside hand one more time, big reach. We're going to rotate forearm to the floor, come back up, big stretch. Planting that hand, we'll step her back into the down dog,
hips, walk those heels out again, just gentle, just waken them up a little bit, give them a little attention. We'll come back into our plank, nice and active, tiptoe those feet up, and then we're going to roll ourselves. Big tall stretch overhead, big reach, good, bring the hands down. Whew. Nice, all right. If you need to give yourself a little bit more kind of gentle warm up, maybe some wrist mobility will work, please do so. We're going to move into that first phase, which is going to primarily focus on the upper body and core, but if you want to show yourself some wrist love, please do so. Pause the video, take that down, come back and join me. We're going to get you guys going with this first phase. All right, let's get ourselves moving. So we're going to start off our day today just warming up our upper body and really getting that shoulder, those lats kind of fired up. So we're going to start off with our plank to down dog. So hands are going to come under the shoulders. We're going to bring our feet together. We're going to pull our ribs in, press the shoulders up. Holding this good strong position through the lats and the shoulder, we're going to pull the hips back, softening the knees and softening the ankles so we can get a nice hip position in that down dog. Our armpits are pointing towards our toes, our lats are wrapping around our body. We're going to come back into that nice plank position. Holding that good position, setting those shoulders, we'll pull back into that position as again we focus on that nice open upper back. We want to think about having a neck, so as we set those shoulders back and down, we feel that shoulder kind of set into place. So we want to make sure that we have this neck and that armpit is pointing forward, or in that down dog, pointing towards our thighs or toes. So really take the time to really set that up. If we can set that position up in our plank, it makes it a lot easier to maintain as we move into our down dog. From there, we're going to start warming up that quad plank. And that quad plank is a great chance to work on a little bit of engagement through the core and through those bodies. So in that tabletop, our feet are going to be underneath, our knees are going to be under our hips, our hands under the shoulders. We're going to push the shoulders up a bit. We're going to pull the ribs in a bit, but we're not trying to round out our back like a cat-cow curl. We're just activating a little protraction through the shoulder, a little engagement through the ribs, and then we're going to lift the knees an inch off the floor, and we're going to hold that position. So pulling those hands and those feet together, we're going to generate a lot of engagement through that midsection, and we're going to try and stay as flat and level as we can in that nice table, so that quad plank. Now from here, we're going to take that next step in our floor pike hold and lift those hips straight up. So we're going to lower our knees back down from that quad plank, bringing our knees together with our toes curled under, hands just outside the shoulders. We're going to pull the ribs in, press the shoulders up, and we are going to lift those hips to the sky, pushing through the shoulders. Armpits are pointing towards the toes. I can tiptoe my feet a little bit more into my hands to get a little bit more positioning over my hands if I need to. But we're trying to simulate that nice handstand position that we're going to be needing later on. So on this one, armpits are forward, but we're pressing those shoulders towards the ears to stabilize and activate that position overhead. Take your time with that. Both those holds, we're looking at 10 to 20, 15 to 30 seconds. We want to make sure that we are banking engaged active time. So if you feel your shoulders disengage, your core disengage, just take a moment. Take a knee, rest a little bit, and then continue on, maybe bank some more time, or move on to the next exercise and hit it the next time around. After that floor pike hold, we're going to give you a little bit of a break. We're going to work on that thoracic spine a little bit. So we're going to come back to our table, and we're going to work some cat-cows. So we're going to tilt the pelvis, and we're going to lift through the chest, walking those vertebrae up, that extension, and then we're going to roll the vertebrae and the hips up into that cat back. So rounding out to that T-spine. We'll tilt the pelvis, roll the vertebrae in that extension, and then we're going to roll the pelvis and vertebrae up into that flexion. So we're going to work back and forth, taking the time to really work on isolating the pelvis, the vertebrae into that walk up, and then in reverse into that flexion position. So take your your time with these. Really pair it with your breath. Inhale, lift, exhale, round. After that, we're gonna work on some dynamic thread the needle. So with the dynamic thread the needle, we stay in that cat-cow. We keep the ribs kind of neutral engaged. We take that right arm to the sky, opening to where we can, threading it through as we reach it through into that position. We're gonna come back up. We're gonna keep these dynamic for now, so they don't have to be fast. We just wanna keep ourselves moving. And we're not really holding any one side of the movement for very long. We're just sort of getting to our end range with active position, come through, feel that sensation, come back up. And we're gonna pair that with our breathing. So exhaling on the thread, inhaling on the open. We'll do 3 per side, just to work on a little rotation and give your shoulders a chance to move in a slightly different position than up and down. As a quick recap, what we have for you guys is a plank to down dog for 3 to 5, quad plank for 10 to 20 seconds, floor pike hold for 15 to 30 seconds, cat-cow curl for 3 to 5, thread the needle for 3 aside. I'm gonna hit that for 2 rounds, really gauging up the core, getting that heart kind of ready to go and generating some heat in that midsection for you guys. So pause the video, take that down. We're gonna come back and join me for a little bit of lower body love. Our next phase of work is gonna start waking up the lower half. Now that we've got the core and the shoulders ready to go, it's time to wake up that lower half of body. So what we're gonna work on today is starting off with some calf raises. With the calf raise, we can do this a number of ways. Toes are gonna be pointing straight ahead though, and the feet are gonna be underneath of the hips. You can hold a dumbbell at the bells in the front, to the side, little suitcase. You can hold 2. You can even put your hands over top of a counter, and you can use that as a little bit of balance help if you need it. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna squeeze our glutes, set our ribs, and we're going to push onto those toes and lower down. Push and then lower down. And what we're working on is a little bit of balance work. We're strengthening our feet up, our ankles up, and we're working on control through those ankles. The big thing we want to watch out for is making sure that when I do push up, we're not rolling onto the pinky toe. We're staying nice and square through that big toe and pinky toe. So nice, strong position there. After, we're going to move into a little bit of balance work, working on our front scale. So my hands can go where they need to be. I'm going to set myself up with one leg out to the front with the toe pointed. The other leg is good and strong. My hips are square to the front. I'm going to lift through my quad and hip, keeping that leg straight, and then I'll lower down. Keeping also this balancing leg straight so that as I lift, I have a really strong, stable post, not giving as I lift that leg up. Once I've finished my front scales, I'm going to move into my side. So I'm going to turn to the side so you guys can see a little bit better. I'm going to point that toe that's going to be doing the lifting. This leg, again, is a strong base of support. Foot, knee, hip, shoulder, all in one straight alignment. Hands can go where they need to go. And I'm going to keep that top of my foot pointing straight ahead as I lift my leg to the side. So we're trying to keep our body square to the front, not turning the hip to the side to get more height in that lift. So you may find with this side scale that you can only lift your leg up to here and you're like, my glutes, all right? And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We just want to take it to the edge, work our balance, and work on that kind of slightly kind of challenging position on terms of the glute and our balance, because we're in a compromised position lifting to the side. So take that time, really work on that balance and work on those positions. We're going to bring it together at the end with some sumo squats. So that nice wide stance, feet are in that sumo squat stance, glutes are engaged, core is tight. And we're going to work on taking those hips towards the heels. So the hips are going to track towards the heels. I'm going to put a little more attention in those knees going out to the side so that they don't collapse inwards as I squat, which they tend to do if I don't put that outward pressure with that wider stance. So really focusing on the tempo of the 3-1-3, taking our time for 3 to 5 reps there to really open up the hips and the knees just a little bit more before we move into our dumbbell work. As a quick recap, we have our calf raise for 20 seconds, loaded or unloaded, front scale raise for 5 aside, side scale raise for 3 aside, and a sumo squat for 3 to 5 at a 3-1-3 tempo. 1 to 2 rounds of that just to kind of get things fired up down there, and then we're going to move into our skill work. that's gonna bring us into our work set. So pause the video, take that down, get those legs kind of fired up. It'll also give you an indicator on how they're feeling after our strength work earlier on in the week. Our next phase of work is going to kickstart off with some RDL jumps. And it's been a little while since we've done these ones, so it might feel a little kind of spastic when we do these. But the RDL jump is a really cool way of just bringing that body together and working a little unilateral movement to generate power. So what we have is 3 different variations. Our first variation is just creating the shape. So for us, whatever leg is you're going to be reaching back into that hinge, the opposite arm, or sorry, the same arm is going to be reaching forward. So the leg goes back, that same arm reaches as I load my balancing leg. Then I'm going to come through, switching hands and bringing that knee up into that high knee position. That's basically where we're at for our first phase of this movement, is just creating the shape and creating the control to get there. So again, we stabilize on our balancing leg. The leg that goes back is the arm that goes forward. I find that load of the leg. I come up, create that shape. Now the next phase, I'm going to bring that leg up through a little bit faster, a little bit with more momentum, and I'm going to get a little lift through that leg. So I'm going to get that positioning. I'm going to reach, same setup. I'm going to pull my leg through, yep, and that lift, that momentum of the knee is going to pull my heel off the floor. But I'm trying to make sure that I go up and straight back down. I'm not leaving the ground, but I'm learning how to generate that power and that movement with that momentum of that back leg. So again, I load my leg, I reach, I come through, and I come back down. And then I reset and do it again. My last phase of this movement, I'm going to actually leave the ground. So I'm going to follow through with my ankle of my balancing leg. So I'm going to reach back, same leg, reaching, I come through with the momentum, and I pop. I finish that pop with that left leg that I used as my balancing leg for that demo. So it's just a follow through. You'll notice I'm not getting crazy air. There's no runway. There's no get going. It's just load and pop. So we're using the momentum of the back leg and the follow through of that balancing ankle to get that generation of that upward vertical power. Take your time with these, you guys. Pick whichever variation or all 3. You have 20 seconds to work on this skill per leg. So take your time and you may find that one side is a little bit more challenging than the other. After we do those RDL jumps, it's going to get a little bit of explosiveness into that hip. We're going to move into our dumbbell deadlift. I'm going to demonstrate with 1 dumbbell, but if you have 2, you can hold them into that conventional deadlift style to the outside and work on your deadlifts that way. But I'm going to demonstrate with 1 because most of us are kind of working with 1 dumbbell right now at home. So I'm going to stand over top of my dumbbell for the first one. I'm going to do a sumo deadlift for my first rep, just to allow myself to get into my bottom position with a little bit better back position. So I stand up tall, I draw my hips back and down, I keep that chest up, take hold of the dumbbell, push through those legs, and stand up nice and tall. From this point, I can choose to stay sumo, keeping the dumbbell in between my knees, or I can choose to come to a more conventional position and take the dumbbell down to the side if I'd like to. So keep in mind, I am not looking at this dumbbell touching the floor if you can't maintain a good back position. So I want you to focus on that good hinge. That hinge as we set the position, coming to the knee, maintain that hinge as we lower down. So it's not top priority to touch the floor. Top priority is back position. From there, we're going to move into a dumbbell hang power clean. We're going to use that hinge again. So we're going to take the dumbbell from either outside the leg or between the knees. We're going to take it to the knee, and we are going to push through those legs, extending and pulling in that power position. I come down to the dumbbell, I pull back, take it to the knees, and then drop through that body position, keeping that dumbbell close to the body. So you'll notice that as I extend my legs and hips, the dumbbell doesn't swing out to the front. It stays right up along the side of my body, keeping it close until it lands in that front rack position. So I want you guys to really focus on that drive and that pull under. into that power position. Because with that pull under, we can start to really get comfortable pulling under that dumbbell, right? With nice, smooth kind of flow from that extension to pull, we can really start transitioning that into our barbell work, our cleans, all that good stuff. Our med ball cleans, everything. So it's a good skill to practice, learning how to pull under that load to make sure that we have that skill to land where we need to land. Our last exercise that we're going to work on is just going to kind of prime up that upper body again. We're going to revisit that quad plank and move into our down dog. So I'm going to come back into my knee position. Hands under my shoulders, wide fingers, knees under my hips. I'm going to establish my quad plank, so I'm going to squeeze everything in, lift the knees an inch, and then I'm going to pull the hips back into that down dog with soft knees. So my heels are off the floor, my knees are soft, my armpits are pointing towards my toes. Now as I come through into this quad plank, I'm going to push through those shoulders so I maintain a stable position for my upper body. And then my lower body just sort of hits that nice quad plank. Same idea, hit that good position, pushing through those shoulders. As my shoulders come over my hands, and my knees can come back in that nice quad plank table position. If you need to, you can lower your knees in between each rep to reset that position if you need to. If not, then try and do all those reps without touching your knees in between, maintaining that good position. Press through those arms. Maintain that strong upper back shoulder position for that movement. It's going to help stabilize and really help build that overhead position. Now as a quick recap, we have 1 to 2, maybe even 3 rounds of that piece just to get yourself fired up with those 2 movements with the dumbbell. We have our RDL jump for 20 seconds aside to work skill. Dumbbell deadlift for 5 per side or with 2 dumbbells. Dumbbell hang power clean, 3 per side or 3 in total with 2 dumbbells. And then we're going to finish off with 3 quad plank to down dogs. Holding that position in each piece for about a second or 2 just to show control and make sure you're ready to move into that next phase. 1 to 2 rounds of that, pause the video, get yourself fired up, ready to go. We are going to move into our work set here and go through a nice little phase of walking you through those movements. The workout is here. What we have for you guys, we're going to set the clock up for 4 minutes. So every 4 minutes you will complete this work set. With this work set, you are looking at 30 seconds of wall run, or an equivalent that I'll have at the bottom of the workout description. 10 dumbbell deadlifts, total count. So that'll be 5 per side if you're using a single dumbbell, or 2 dumbbells for 10. 8 dumbbell hang power cleans. And then we're going to do 1 to 2 wall walkouts. So we're going to work on some skill on that wall walkout, and I'm going to show you some different variations for that as we move through. So come along to the wall. We're going to talk about the wall run and the wall walkout. All right, we're back at the wall here. So what we have for you guys, a nice opportunity to work on some run technique and run form, which can also get that heart rate really jacked up really, really well. So with the wall run, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself kind of set up at this kind of angle where I'm kind of in a little wall plank. I'm pushing my hands into the shoulders, hands into the wall, which is going to activate that upper back. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a foot right underneath of my glute. So I'm picking it straight up. And you're going to notice that that's very similar to that butt kick. I put it down, and I'm staying in this kind of position, which is slightly back, pushing into the wall. So if I let go of the wall, I would fall, right? We want to imagine that once we get going on this wall run, that the wall would disappear and you would just keep running with that nice pose form. So keep that in mind as something to think about when we're doing this, that this wall is just here to allow us to maintain this nice posture and maintain a challenge to work on our form. So what we're looking at is that nice opportunity to pull and pull. And you can take this at whatever speed you'd like, working on that pose, working on that pressure into the wall to keep the core tight. And then if you'd like to, you can take it at a nice gentle kind of jogging pace, or you can take it at a faster pace, working on that faster position. Now, if you're not comfortable with the wall run, you can work on that same pose by working on picking that heel up right under the glute and working on that butt kick at a more vertical position. So you get a little march going, keeping that heel under the glute. You can turn it into a run, working on that nice smooth motion, but we're still working on that pose position. So that heel coming right up underneath of the glute so that that knee is at that figure 4 position. Okay? So play with that. Find a pace that allows you to move well for 30 seconds. It's not super long, but it's very challenging still. So I want you to find a pace that allows you to push yourself, challenge yourself to get that heart rate up and maintain that position. Now our next 2 movements in our workout are dumbbell deadlift and our hang power clean. 2 movements we covered quite heavily in our warm-up earlier. So if you need some points of performance or some cues for that, scroll back to that warm-up, go over that again with that, and then tackle it in the work set. But what we're thinking about in the workout is 10 reps for the deadlift, so 5 per side if you're using a single, sumo, or conventional, and 4 per side with that lovely clean. All right, so a total count of 8 dumbbell hang power cleans. So you'll split the work, or you'll have 2 dumbbells and just rock the number as is. Our last exercise is our wall walk-up, and we did this in the open, and it's going to be a nice opportunity to revisit this movement and really work on some handstand skill work. But if you're not comfortable, I do have some different variations. First things first, though, I'm going to show you the full wall walk-up. So I'm laying on the floor. I start with my hands beside my chest, my feet are against the wall. I'm going to set those shoulders at the back portion of the humeral glide, pull my ribs in. I'm going to push and set. Taking a step, I'm going to walk my hands in as close as I feel comfortable into that good handstand, and then walk my hands and feet in together at the same time. And then lower down to the floor. So I'm going to work on that nice push-up, all the way up the wall, and all the way down with control to the bottom, chest on the floor. Now, keeping in mind, you can work that to whatever range you feel comfortable at. You do not have to go close to the wall. You can even walk it up to a wall angle hold at that 45 degree. Now, another option for you guys, which is pretty neat, is a standing variation for this. So what you can work on, same position we were at when we were working on our wall run. I'm going to pull my ribs in, press my shoulders up, and I'm going to push onto my toes. So I'm kind of in this nice solid wall plank, pulling the ribs in. Then from here, I'm going to walk my hands up the wall into a nice hollow position. So I'm in that nice active hollow. I'm going to walk my hands back down. Setting that position, walking up the wall to that hollow, hold that position, pulling those ribs in, walking back into that position as well. So we have that option as well, using the wall to create that good hollow position. Takes a lot of load off the shoulders, but it allows you to work the shape that we're after for that wall walk. So these are some wall options. Let's come back over to the floor. I'm going to show you some floor options as well. All right, so a couple options for our wall walk-up as well for our floor options. You can do this elevated on an ottoman, a box, a chair as well. But for now, what I'm going to show you is our floor option from standing. So what we can work on is a series of inchworms. So I can work on that hinge. I walk my hands out into my plank. I walk my hands back in. So that would be a very limited range to my plank position. Another option, I can hinge, walk my hands out through my plank into my extended plank position. I hit my extended plank. I walk myself back in, all the way up to a standing position. Now, if you'd like to experiment with that extended plank, you can also walk yourself out into your plank, lower your knees, walk yourself out into your extended knee plank, come back in, straighten, and walk those hands back in, and stand tall. Lots of options there for you guys in terms of floor, wall, and an elevated surface as well, working on that plank to inchworm walk in, to plank again with those feet up on the box or the chair. So lots of different ways to play. Pick your adventure with that wall walk up. It's going to be challenging on the upper body, especially after those cleans and deads. So I hope you have some fun with that and enjoy. As a quick recap on this workout, every 4 minutes for 5 rounds, you will do 1 wall run for 30 seconds or a variation, dumbbell deadlift for 10, dumbbell hang power clean for 8, 1 to 2 wall walk-ups or one of those different variations, and then rest. So whatever time you have left over, you're going to take some time to rest, relax, mark your time down, how long it took you to do, and then try and match that time or even beat that time, who knows, all right, for the next couple rounds. We want to keep our goal as 5 to 10 seconds within our first round. Have fun with this workout, you guys. Take your time working that skill for the wall walk. You'll have time to work on that skill for quality. Don't worry about rushing them. 1 to 2 reps. It's up to you. If you're comfortable with 1, do 1. If you're like, I'm pretty good with those, do 2. All right, see where it takes you. But let's have some fun with this one, you guys. Let's work some skill. And if you have any questions, or if you want to video yourself doing a wall walk for some cues and some coaching, please do so. Send it to me a private message. I'll look at them and we'll see what they look like and help you out with that. Until tomorrow, work for quality, have tons of fun, and we'll come at you tomorrow with some more fun and cool little work sets. Bye, you guys.